So may I come in?
I know.
Assalamu alaikum.
Better, please.
Thank you so much, sir.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
You may like to introduce yourself to all of us.
My name is Fatima, and I belong from District Punch, Azad, Kashmir. My early education is from Fauji Foundation Schools and College, Rawalpindi. And after that, I pursued my higher education from Qaid Azam University. I graduated in 2018 with a 3.5 CGPA. In university, I was part of Debating and Literary Society as a co-committee member, and I was able to conduct many conferences and numerous programs in the university. And after that, I was fortunate enough to start my job in a multinational company called Eli Lilly Pakistan. I served there for 4 years in various cross-functional departments. And after that, I prepared for my civil services exams. And I'm glad to be here today.
Good. So you come from AJK.
Yes.
Okay, introduce AJK to all of us.
So Azad Jammu and Kashmir is a part of Greater Kashmir region, and in 1947 it became independent because of the Punj uprising. People in Azad Jammu and Kashmir, they rebelled against the Dogra forces, and they wanted a separate region or for themselves according to the aspirations of the people of Kashmir. And their leader, who was Hari Singh at that time, he signed first standstill agreement with Pakistan, and then forcefully signed an instrument of accession with India, which was not accepted by the people of Kashmir. And a rebellion started in Punch against those forces, and they got their own land for themselves after that uprising.
Can you give us the overview of pharmaceutical industry in Pakistan?
Yes, sir. So pharmaceutical industry comprises of manufacturing sector, as well as there are some distribution setups in Pakistan as well. Mainly we import a lot of goods, pharmaceutical goods from international companies in Pakistan, and usually market them in our local brands. But there are some local companies as well who are manufacturing some local products, which are non-patent products in Pakistan, and they are manufactured especially in Karachi region and some part of Islamabad as well.
What are the challenges which this industry is facing?
Sorry, sir, which industry?
Challenges.
Challenges to the
This
pharmaceutical
industry, yes.
So, first of all, I think we don't have raw materials in Pakistan. We are importing those raw materials from abroad, and due to which our cost of manufacturing is very high. Apart from that, the standard quality procedures are not implemented truly in Pakistan. We have some challenges in terms of regulatory network as well. So, a lot of spurious drugs are also in the market, and therefore, there's a lack of trust of healthcare professionals on the products that are being manufactured inside Pakistan. So they rely on imported medicines and those with high brand names.
Are you satisfied with the role of the regulator of this industry?
So there are some lacunas in the regulation, mainly in terms of there is not a broad access of all the pharmacies that are working in Pakistan under the regulatory network. So there are like in small neighborhoods and in small cities, I think there needs to be more strengthening of regulation network.
Who is responsible for quality control of the medicines?
So it comes under a Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan. The quality there are drug inspectors who go and check the quality assurance and quality control of the companies.
Are you happy with this arrangement?
Yes, sir. I think we're improving over the time.
You tell us the main features of Constitution of Pakistan.
So, 1973 Constitution of Pakistan is comprises of 280 articles and have several sections, and it tells about the area and the territorial arrangement of Pakistan. As also it tells about the fundamental rights of Pakistan, tells the parliamentary form of government, federal parliamentary form of government, and describes the roles of institutions. Also gives the directives of policy in the constitution, and apart from that, it gives information about the emergency powers of all the organs of the state.
Okay, you identify the main challenges the Pakistan economy is facing at this moment.
So, the challenges are numerous. I would like to emphasize on three challenges which are pertaining to the balance of payment. First of all, I think this is the very incumbent challenge that we are facing. And then we have fiscal deficits, and also our circular debt is very high. And all these issues are because of that our economy is structurally not very strong. We rely on products which are based on agriculture. Even our exports are on the basis of agricultural products, which are perishable goods. We cannot export them to various markets, far off markets. And apart from that dependence on agriculture sector, we are unable to incorporate information technology in our economy and other distinguishable areas from which we can earn more in the modern economy. These are some of the issues that I feel are present in Pakistan right now.
Thank you.
Police Service of Pakistan, that is your third choice. 1861 Police Act was in vogue right after the independence. And now, what is the position? Under which law the police working is being governed?
Under Police Order 2002, currently the police is working, and this was it's a comprehensive document which tells about the functioning of the police in a new way. For example, the police liaison with the civilians was introduced. The police as a force, and also there were some functional changes made in the police. For example, the investigation department was separated from the operational department. And similarly, as I said, civilian police liaison committees were made, and it was separated from civil magistracy. Police was separated from them, and these are some of the key issues, key features of the police order. And also in one of the articles, the role of police was also defined, that they have to protect the life, property of the people, maintain law and order, maintain peace, and prevent the crimes in the country. So these were some of the functions that were defined for the police.
There were specific provisions for bringing about transparency in the police working and for the accountability. What are those?
Sir, if I remember correctly, they were maintained in one section, and to bring transparency, there were some committee was made in which people can complain about the irregularities of any police officers if they find them.
Okay. Our society is extremely polarized. Do you agree?
Yes, sir. I agree to this statement. In terms of, we see that although we are a diverse society, but there still remains polarization in terms of political polarization. Then there are some fracture lines in terms of ethnicity on lingual basis. So we are, as a nation, we are unable to provide them a national identity on which basis we can reduce these polarization. But it do exist in our country.
What are the reasons for this?
So firstly, I think we are unable to bring up a unified leadership that all the sections of the society can relate to. Apart from that, I think on the very grassroots level, we are unable to train our people on political basis. There is no ground level training for political aspirations of the young generation to channel their energies, and also marginalization of the people when it comes to providing social benefits, especially education, and there's poverty, inequality.
Okay.
So these features.
How will you define corruption?
So I would define corruption as anything that any use of authority outside your jurisdiction, outside the constitutional means, and wasting of resources can also be, considered as corruption.
Why the corruption levels are? Why there is a lot of corruption in our country?
Sir, I think corruption, as per the corruption index, we stand at 140th position. Pakistan stands at 140th position. But these levels are, again, I believe that there are structural problems and also the benefits, social economic benefits that if they are not provided to the people, then and they are unable to maintain their expenses within the limits that they are given, within the means that they are given. Our unemployment rate is very high. And similarly, there is unskilled labor in Pakistan. So if they are unable to meet their expenses and their means of finances are limited, then they resort to corruption and finding alternative means to meet their expenses.
Finally, define organization, public administration.
Yes, sir. So organization is any body, any entity that has a certain hierarchy and has a jurisdiction of performing certain functions within its domain.
Welcome to CSPs Academy for CSS PMS preparation. CSS PMS तहरीरी इम्तिहान के तमाम मज़ामीन की ऑनलाइन और ऑन कैंपस तैयारी के साथ साथ सब्जेक्ट सिलेक्शन, असाइनमेंट चेकिंग, क्लास टेस्ट, मॉक एग्जाम, इंडिविजुअल टीचर डिस्कशन और फीडबैक सेशन का इनकाद किया जाएगा। इसके अलावा FPSC की तजवीज़ करदा बुक्स से बने मयारी नोट्स और CSPs पब्लिशर की बेहतरीन बुक्स मुहैया की जाएंगी। रजिस्टर नाउ एट 0316 570 1593.
And Fatima, what is the difference between pharmaceutics and pharmacognosy?
Ma'am, there are two parts of pharmaceutical education. Pharmaceutics firstly refers to the manufacturing of different forms of drugs. For example, there are creams, tablets, there are ointments, there are syrups, suspensions. So these are all the formulations and they are prepared differently. So in pharmaceuticals, we learn about how these different forms of drugs are manufactured. In pharmacognosy, it is basically science behind manufacturing. So in pharmacognosy, we study the plants from which certain extracts are taken out and they can be then used inside these formulations.
Foreign service is your second option.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me the difference between a high commissioner and an ambassador?
A high commissioner and an ambassador. Ma'am, ambassadors are to various countries. It is the highest position in the foreign services of Pakistan, and they are also called ministers and sent to the representatives. Whereas I think high commissioners are sent to organizations such as United Nations and other multilateral organizations.
Would you know the hierarchy of an embassy?
Hierarchy of an embassy, yes, ma'am. There are third secretaries, second secretary, first secretary, and then there's secretary and then ambassador.
Thank you. Your favorite personality includes Bilqis Edi. Why?
Ma'am, I like her zeal and zest to how she worked for the people of Pakistan. She was a figure that revolutionized the, how to treat the infant babies in Pakistan. And she was a form of strength for a lot of women. They drew a lot of inspiration from her. And I liked how she balanced her work and family. And despite having limited means, she made her name in the world. She was named as the Woman of a Decade. In the last decade, she was the Woman of Decade by an international organization. So,
how would you compare her work with Satar Edi's work?
Ma'am,
what is the difference between the two?
Ma'am, I think both drew their strengths from each other. So Bilqis Edi was already working as a nurse when she got married to Mr. Edi, and as he was a phenomenal figure, he was leading it from the front. I think she was the one who was managing those operations, also side by side with him. So both were humanitarian. They had their own role, but ma'am was Miss Bilqis Edi was more with infant and child care and maternal care, whereas Abdul Sattar Edi had a universal appeal to humanitarianism.
Thank you. You have mentioned two books, both written by Arundhati Roy. Tell me about Arundhati Roy.
Ma'am, she's a human rights champion. She hails from India, and she talks about minority rights, talks about especially the curtailment of freedom of speech in India, and she talks about the fascism of the BJP government in India and how it is perpetuating human rights violations inside India. So she's a very vocal person in terms of telling the world that despite the world considers India as a great democracy, there still are issues pertaining to violations of human rights inside India.
What is the difference between a walker and a hiker?
A walker can walk, in miles, but a hiker is especially they walk on an ascending path, be it mountains, hills, and but both are. I think they're both categorized in a category of walkers.
Thank you so much, Anwar Fatima. Dr. Saab?
Thank you, ma'am. Well, I'm Fatima. What is difference between intuition and reason?
So, reason pertains to the cognitive abilities of a person, and they think through logic and argument, whereas intuition is an inner feeling that is described by certain philosophers that define how.
Give some example of intuition.
So, for example, in ethics, when there's a certain circumstance, when there's a condition that arises, and there's an inherent feeling in a man that will tell him that whether something that he's doing is right. So
That's
that
right.
comes as intuition.
Can you tell me that when British East India Company for the first time got the right of revenue collection?
Yes, sir. Sir, it was after the Battle of Buxar. They got this right in Bengal after they beat.
Who were the warring parties? Can you name those?
Yes, sir. It was the leader of Bengal, who was at that time Mir Qasim, and he fought
Fine.
with Robert Clive.
Okay, what is difference between company's rule and crown's rule?
So, company was East India Company, and it was it was a merchant company, trader company, and they came here as traders and then got the administrative rights of certain parts. But later on, the British Crown took over the control of whole India, and it is referred as Crown rule in India.
Okay, when Shimla deputation is assembled, and what was rationale behind that deputation?
So, Shimla deputation met with the Viceroy in 1906, and the rationale behind was that after the partition of Bengal, the Muslims felt that they can put up their demands to the to the Governor General and Viceroy, and their inspiration was to form a political party to have more rights for separate electorate for Muslims.
When started Quit India movement, and what was rationale behind that?
So, Quit India movement. The rationale behind Quit India movement was that in 1940s, I guess. World War II had started, and the Viceroy had announced that they will participate in India in World War II. The Indians will participate in there, but then Gandhi took up this movement, and they pressurized the British government to quit India.
What, according to Machiavelli, is the best way to maintain power?
Sir, as Machiavelli was realist, he believed that force, having power and force by the leader, is a mechanism.
What is Hobbes' state of nature?
Hobbes was a pessimist, and his state of nature is violent.
And what is the solution for this violent state of nature?
So he proposed a solution that a Leviathan, a very strong leader, should emerge who's authoritarian.
Do you see any part of his philosophy included in the constitution or political system of Pakistan?
Sir, Pakistan's constitution is parliamentary, and it comprises on the representative part of the state, and the power is distributed equally among the organs of the state. So I think there's not much. His philosophy is not much incorporated in our constitution.
Not much incorporated. Do you see the presence of his philosophy in American Constitution or in British Constitution?
Sir, U.S. Constitution is more presidential, and the executive has powers, direct powers that he can incorporate without reference to the legislature. So
What
probably
10 amendments in American Constitution collectively called? First 10 amendments in US Constitution is collectively called as?
Bill of Rights.
Yes, and who is the philosopher behind that Bill of Rights?
Sir, if I'm not wrong, it's Jean-Jacques Rousseau.
What about John Locke?
Yes, sir, John Locke.
What are fundamental rights?
So fundamental rights refer to the rights that state provides to the people in terms of.
Is there any difference between fundamental rights and natural rights?
So natural rights were, as John proclaimed, they were just life, liberty, and property. But fundamental rights are now diverse. They include freedom of speech, expression, association.
Okay, thank you.
Then let's conclude it. Let's conclude this formal interview. Let's have informal discussion.
Yes, sir.
We will give you some feedback. Everybody will give their comments, and then you can ask question if you like.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you have got the potential to go up to 80%, 85%. Okay? And that is going to make a lot of difference. You told us that your interview is in somewhere in Feb.
Yes, sir. It's not
So you
decided.
have got time.
Yes, sir.
That is something very good. So what I will advise you, number one, you need to prepare 1-page introduction defining yourself. ठीक है ना, वो आती है पहले से. You just create self-awareness, what you are. So then you will be, because in an interview, when you introduce yourself, this personality and this on this chair and your first word, here you are defining yourself. Okay? So you need to prepare 1-pager for you. 1-pager to be delivered in 1 minute. And that should be based on objectivity with evidence.
Yes, sir.
Correct? You are in a good state of preparedness, but if you do more, you can compete well. बल्कि आपको तो मेरा ख्याल है अपर लिमिट्स में चली जाएंगे आप. ठीक है ना? तो वो अपने अंदर एक स्टेट ऑफ प्रिपेयर्डनेस. यू हैव एक्सेप्टेड दिस चैलेंज, यू नीड टू वर्क ऑन इट.
सर.
नॉलेज लेवल आपका सेटिस्फैक्ट्री है, बट स्टिल इट नीड्स इम्प्रूवमेंट. ठीक है ना? जैसे रेगुलेशन की बात हो रही है इंडस्ट्री की. यू हैव स्पेंट 4 years इन दिस इंडस्ट्री. आपको तो पता होना चाहिए. इसके तो चैलेंजेस बहुत हैं.
जी सर.
ये तो ऐसे ही बस कोएक्स चला रहा है, नॉट द रियल फार्मासिस्ट. ठीक है? दिस नीड इम्प्रूवमेंट. व्हेन यू स्पीक एज ए फार्मासिस्ट, तो वो एक्सपेक्टेशन ज्यादा हो जाती है. देन न्यूज़पेपर, यू नीड टू हैव पिछले 3 महीने के एटलीस्ट उन सबको बैठ के रिव्यू करें. इंटरनेशनल न्यूज, नेशनल, इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज एंड सोशल इश्यूज. तो उनका क्रक्स आप निकालेंगी. एंड देन यू नीड टू हैव ए नोटबुक, समथिंग लाइक दैट. पावर पॉइंट प्रेजेंटेशन जैसे करते हैं ना, तो उसमें पॉइंट लिखते हैं.
जी सर.
तो उस पर आपके हर टॉपिक के ऊपर पॉइंट प्रेजेंटेशन की कम से कम 100 टॉपिक हो आपके स्टॉक पे, जिनको आप रोजाना सुबह उठ के रिहर्सल करें. ठीक है ना? और फिर अगर कोई नया टॉपिक आ गया तो उसे ऐड करती जाए. तो दैट यू हैव टू डू टिल द D-Day.
Yes, sir.
So if you keep on doing all these things, so I feel that आप टच करेंगे 85-90% को भी जा सकते हैं.
इंशाल्लाह.
ठीक है ना? बेस्ट ऑफ लक आप सर.
सारी बातें बता दी उन्होंने. आप अपने क्वेश्चंस को उसको यानी कंसाइज फॉर्म में आप जवाब दें. टू द पॉइंट होना चाहिए. आप उसको जो है ना फैला देती हैं, उसको राउंड अबाउट मैनर में आप जवाब देती हैं. तो ये हमेशा पॉइंट्स की सूरत में जो आप स्ट्रक्चर करें अपने आंसर्स को. ठीक है? और आप में जो है पोटेंशियल है, इससे भी ज़्यादा अब आप नंबर ले सकती हैं. नॉलेज का गैप है. जैसे इसका जो है, मैंने करप्शन किया, आपसे बात की, करप्शन जवाब आपने दिया लेकिन आधा सही था. इसी तरह वो जो है सोसाइटी पोलराइजेशन का भी जवाब जो आपने दिया, लेकिन वो इतना वो सॉलिड नहीं थे, ग्राउंड्स आपके इतने सॉलिड नहीं थे।
ठीक है
तो इनको जाकर घर पे देखें और वहाँ जाकर फिर अपना माइंड अप्लाई करें, देखें इनके जवाब क्या बनते
जी
हैं।
सर,
ठीक
इंशाल्लाह।
And Fatima, you have a very nice personality. You're very articulate. Your communication skills are very good. Your answer on Bilkis was good. Arundhati Roy, do a little bit more in your response. Walker and hiker, you need to know the distinction, technical distinction.
राइट मैम।
ठीक है, ये थोड़े से गैप्स फिल कर लो। अपने ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट्स गो थ्रू देम अगेन, पर्टिकुलरली एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, जेंडर स्टडीज, पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन पे आपको बहुत सवाल आएंगे। सो थियरीज ऑफ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, पॉलिसी मेकिंग, पाकिस्तान में क्या प्रॉब्लम्स है, ये सब यू विल हैव टू एड्रेस। यू हैव अ वेरी गुड पोटेंशियल। अभी आपने अपनी फेवरेट पर्सनैलिटीज तो नहीं दी?
मैम मैंने सोची है जसिंदा आर्डन एक और क्योंकि लाइव पर्सनालिटीज का वो पूछ रहे हैं।
नहीं, जरूरी नहीं लाइव हो।
मैम उन्होंने लिखा हुआ है देयर इज मेंशनिंग कि लिविंग पर्सनालिटीज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ साइकोलॉजिकल।
हाँ, कब दे रहे हैं वो सबमिट करना आपने?
मैम वो साइकोलॉजिकल की डेट अभी मेरी नहीं आई।
हाँ,
तो
बेटा एक ही रखो
ठीक है।
ताकि उसके ऊपर सॉलिड स्टडी कर सको।
ठीक।
दे विल आस्क यू क्वेश्चंस ऑफ डिफरेंट डायमेंशंस। मतलब अगर जसिंदा आर्डन है तो उसकी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के बारे में पता होना चाहिए, न्यूजीलैंड की पार्लियामेंट का पता होना चाहिए, फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट का पता होना चाहिए। लॉट ऑफ नॉलेज इज रिक्वायर्ड। सो एक पर्सनैलिटी इज नॉट अबाउट द पर्सन, इट्स अबाउट यू एंड योर थॉरोनेस ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग। सो आई वुड रिकमेंड कि एक रखो जिसको फिर आप थॉरली पढ़ सको। बिल्किस का आपने अच्छा जवाब दिया, बट यू कुड डू मोर। ठीक है, you are a winning horse, you have time, a little bit of focus, and you
Thank
do
you,
well.
ma'am. Thank you for your advices. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Well, and Fatima, you're very calm and composed personality, very confident. अगर क्वेश्चन नहीं भी आता तो आपका कॉन्फिडेंस का जो लेवल है वो वहीं पे बरकरार है। दैट इज़ वेरी पॉजिटिव थिंग। और अभी आपने एंथ्रोपोलॉजी और मेडिकल साइंसेस पढ़ा, आपको एक बात का अंदाजा होगा कि सर्वाइवल ऑफ द फिटेस्ट, इट्स अ वॉर ऑल अगेंस्ट ऑल, लाइक होप सेज।
Yes, sir.
तो जो एकेडमिक बैकग्राउंड में अक्सर स्टूडेंट्स को ये देखना पड़ता है कि वो 70 से 80% तक चले जाते हैं, लेकिन 80 से 85% तक जाना और 85 से 90% तक जाना ये बहुत टफ काम है और बहुत ज़्यादा हार्ड वर्क करना पड़ता है। अगर आपने इंटरव्यू, यू वुड बी अमंग्स वेरी गुड कैंडिडेट्स जिनका इंटरव्यू बहुत अच्छा होगा। आपको थोड़ा सा वर्कआउट और करना होगा, ठीक है। और चीज़ों को थोड़ा सा देखें, जितने भी पॉलिटिकल फिलोसफर्स थे ना, उन्होंने पॉलिटिकल फिलोसफी दी थी टू अटेन एन आइडियल स्टेट, और उनका कहीं ना कहीं नजर आ रहा था। अब हॉब्स सेज कि स्टेट ऑफ नेचर में तो ब्रुटैलिटी है। मैं आपको एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ। अब उस स्टेट ऑफ नेचर को कैसे हम खत्म कर सकते हैं, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करके और एक स्ट्रॉन्ग गवर्नमेंट बना के। नाउ गेस इफ देयर वुड बी एब्सेंस ऑफ स्ट्रॉन्ग फेडरल गवर्नमेंट इन पाकिस्तान, व्हाट वुड बी हैपन?
Yes, sir.
देयर वुड बी एनार्की।
Anarchy. Yes, sir.
तो वो यही तो चाहता था कि एनार्की ना हो, एक स्ट्रॉन्ग गवर्नमेंट हो, ठीक है। अगर आप अमेरिका की हिस्ट्री देखें, 1783 से लेके 1789 देयर वाज नो फेडरल गवर्नमेंट। तो अमेरिकन कॉलोनीज में अनार्की टाइप और बहुत सारी रेबेलियन से फिर उन्होंने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना और एक स्ट्रॉन्ग, दे टुक दिस आइडिया फ्रॉम हॉब्स पॉलिटिकल
Right,
फिलोसफी। चीज़ों को रिलेट करना थोड़ा सा, ठीक है। आपके आंसर्स बहुत अच्छे।
ठीक है,
Thank you
चलें,
so much, sir.
बेस्ट ऑफ
Thank
लक। और
you,
किसी
ma'am.
चीज की फिक्र ना करें।
Okay.